listeners and spectators, so let's groove with the smooth operator. Just sound so smooth. Just sound so smooth.
Hello, good people. This is your made man, attorney at war, Stephen G. James, coming to you live, giving it to you raw, because that's what you've been asking me for here on your show, The Hour of Power, which is broadcast live from around the world. But today we are in La República Dominicana in a city called Sosúa, coming to you live with part 2 of our program about why do so many North American men from Europe, particularly men, but sometimes women, I've met them over the past week I've been here, come to places like this, Latin America, South America, looking for love, looking for women, looking for companionships when they have women at home in all these different North American countries and in European countries. But yet, they come down here by the droves. So we want your opinion today. We hope to get a few people that are just live walking around to talk to us and give us their opinion. But we are coming to you live from the New Garden Hotel's sidewalk restaurant. So you're going to see some people, some waiters, waitresses working. This is a live broadcast from New Garden here in Sosúa, in La República Dominicana, in the Dominican Republic. And this is your attorney at war and at law, Stephen G. James, giving you what you asked for and then some more. All right? And we give it to you raw, as you know. And I want your input today. I want to know what your view is on why do so many North American, primarily men, but sometimes women, come to South America and Latin America looking for love. What's the story? What's the reason? Háblame claro. Entonces, tú me entiendes. I want you guys to chime in and tell me what your views are, okay? So this is your attorney, Stephen G. James. By the way, we're going to get to the topic that I just mentioned, but also we definitely have to hit on the killing of Miss McLaughlin in Florida, in Clearwater, Florida, last week. Between the last show and this one, there was a young man murdered over a handicapped parking spot where the young man's girlfriend parked their car so that he could stop at a Stop and Shop and take their little young son, I think he was 4 or 5 years old, inside for a candy bar. While he was inside, the young lady, still in the car with yet another young child, was confronted by a wild man with a gun. And this guy confronted them with the gun and basically started arguing with her about why is she in a handicapped parking spot without a handicapped parking pass. Now, keep in mind, this person is not working for the parking lot, did not work for the store attached to the parking lot. In fact, he had been warned several times prior to this incident about bothering the customers of the store about parking there. Yet he continued to do it. So he was yelling and cursing and acting up so loudly and so rudely that somebody going into the store went inside to tell the owner that there is a wild man outside verbally attacking a young lady with children about a parking spot. So the boyfriend heard this and immediately came outside because he realized that was his car and his woman and his family being confronted. And he came out and saw this guy at the window of the automobile driver's side yelling at his lady friend. So what did he do? What any guy would probably do, trying to protect his family, young children. A young child was with him, plus the young child was in the car, plus his lady's in the car. He backed this guy up, pushed him away from the window of the car. What does this so-called standing your ground person do? Pulls a gun and kills him in response. I want to know your opinion. Is that a justified killing? Was that standing your ground? Was that someone whose life was in imminent danger? And we all have the videotape, and we've all had the opportunity to see the tape where the young man who pushed this attacker away from his family's car window was retreating. He only pushed him away, and he was walking away from that to go about his business. And before he can get 2 steps, the guy shot him in the chest and killed him. So what's your opinion about that issue too? Is that standing your ground? I want to know what you have to say about that. And remember, this is your hour of power with your host with the most, attorney Stephen G. James. And if Stephen G. James is not on your international, conversational, multicultural broadcast, your broadcast just really isn't on. Okay? So let's see who's checking in now. Coming to you live from the Dominican Republic, we have Lily DeWitt joined us. Hi, Lily. Thank you for joining in. Bring It Back, You're Mad. Come Again has joined us. Jorge Almonte. Cumpleaños feliz, Jorge. Tu cumpleaños era una semana atrás. Cumpleaños feliz. Jorge Almonte vive en Puerto Plata, in la República Dominicana. He's joining us. Hi, George. George lives in the Dominican Republic in this town, and he's just had a birthday, so happy birthday to George. Ike Diesel, live and direct from the West Coast. My man, Ike from LA. And Ike, I want you to join and say something today, man. You join in, you watch me, I know that, but I want to hear your opinion because I respect your gangster. I want to hear from you. And when I come to LA, you will hear from me. Is that fair? We also are joined by, it's sunny here, but I got to take these glasses down. Dictia Martinez. Janelle, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay. Peter Gray, my main man. All right. My main man. Peter Gray always staying in touch with the latest news. Lily DeWitt. Oh, she says that shooting was pathetic. Lily, I agree with you. Do you think it was stand your ground? No, it wasn't, says Lily. Well, by no comment, thank you, Lily, for that input. But by you other folks not saying anything, are you saying basically that you feel that this young man that was gunned down because he was trying to protect his family and simply pushed this person away from his woman and was shot in the chest as he was stepping away? You think that was a justifiable killing? Well, the sheriff in that town of Clearwater, Florida, determined in 2 seconds flat, basically, that it was a justifiable killing, and therefore no charges should be brought against this guy for killing this young man. What's your opinion? You know, does your silence indicate that you agree with the sheriff? Are you telling me, Ike Diesel, Jorge Almonte, Bring It Back, You're Mad, Come Again, that you don't agree with Lily DeWitt and with me? You think that this was a justifiable killing? I want to know your opinion. I don't want you guys just to listen to me, although this is the hour of power to drop that science on my main peeps, and you are being heard and seen from around the world. This is a live international broadcast, so everybody can join in, but I want the people following both on Facebook and here, I want to know what you think about it. You know, we had a lot of forum this past week since it went down. I've been on a couple of radio shows, even from the Dominican Republic, through podcasting and everything else on other people's shows, talking about this gun issue and talking about that case in particular. So I want to know your opinions. You guys know mine, so talk to me about yours, okay? Háblame claro, entonces. Yo quiero conocer tu opinión en esta vaina, okay? So háblame. And we're going to have some input from some of the people here talking about the show and let you know what their views and opinions are. We have some of the lovelies from right here in the show that's going to be joining us. Bye-bye. Yes. Okay, come. Ellos están comiendo, pero yo quiero sus opiniones porque ellos saben mucho de extranjeros aquí también. So yo quiero a las chicas hablar porque los extranjeros llegan de otros países, no dan la más. Pero hablan en español. They have to speak in English because la audiencia entiende inglés. So hablan en inglés en Chile. Tú puedes hablar un poco de español, pero mayormente ellos entienden en inglés. Right? I told them that they got to drop it in English because mostly y'all speak in English. Anyway, we're going to talk about those two topics. You know what? Coming down here, your main made man ran into a lot of Americanos, Americans, a lot of Europeans, and others just chock full. And I'm in a town called Sosua. This is like Central Park where all the honey dips come to meet the Americans, quite frankly. So it's like 1,000 million women running around here constantly, you know, from 18 to 25. And they dress in their Sunday best every day because they want to run into some of these guys. So we know that they're here, but why is it that these cats are leaving their own hometowns, home states, home countries to come here? So what is the reason? I want to get your input. Talk to me. Hi, Lily. What's your view on that? Damari Ruiz from La República Dominicana, Puerto Plata, en la casa. Dígame. Yo quiero tu opinión también. Ella se encanta con mi español, por eso ella sí entiende, ¿verdad que sí? Pues está bien, entonces. Oh, DJ. Damari, ¿cómo estás? We have my man from India, Shub Singh. How are you, Shub? Coming in from India. You say, how are you? I'm doing well, brother. How are you? How's India? Big ups to India and to Shub Singh in India. Thank you for checking in. Lily DeWitt says, there was no threat to life. Oh, yes. Talking about the issue of the shooting. There was no threat. I agree with you, Lily. And I want to know other people's opinions. But right now, we're going to get to that subject second. But right now, we're going to talk about why am I running into so many extranjeros, foreigners, here in La República Dominicana. When I was in Colombia last week, same thing. You know, they were tripping over each other's feet. What's up with that? What's the dealio, bro? Talk to me if you know. Carlos Esposito. Hello, Stefan. Carlos, ¿cómo tú estás? Hermanito. Estoy bien. ¿Y tú? Carlos is joining us again from South America. Carlos has joined us. Shub Singh. Lily DeWitt. Our morals are twisted, and the people from other countries haven't lost their faith. Oh, okay. I hear that. America is broken. Our morals are twisted, and the people from other countries haven't lost their faith. So you're saying that a lot of it is due to having lost faith, in God, faith in themselves, faith in the country, faith in the government. Be more specific, Lily, but I think I know what track you're on, but I don't want to guess. So I want you to tell us, having lost faith in what? Expand. I appreciate your input. And we have Ernesto Martin who's joining us. Very nice. Ernesto, where are you checking in from? What city are you in today? Because I know you're a traveling man like me, so you could be anywhere. Tanya Lofton. Hi, Tanya. It's a pleasure to see you. How was your week? We haven't talked since last Saturday's show. Please join the conversation. This is your main man coming to you live and direct from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata and Sosua. Today we're in Sosua, which is Central Park for all the honey dips and all the foreigners who are looking for them right here in this town. So talk to me. Mi amor, ven, alguien ven, porque yo quiero una opinión de uno de ustedes. Esta es history, ¿ok? Sí, tú sabes demasiado. Oh, tú no sabes. Sí. No. What language? Oh my God. Hey, they have a lot of opinions, but they're afraid to talk on the camera. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I know that we're not afraid to talk. I'm trying to get them to come here because at the New Garden, there's a lot of, this is like a place where a lot of the foreigners stay when they're in this town. And I know that the workers, these guys behind me, are the workers from the New Garden. And I know that they know why, what they're hearing when they talk to. Most of them speak English and Spanish. So they interact a lot with the Americans. And they know some of the issues that I'm discussing. But I definitely want to hear from you guys. And you tell me what is that all about? Why are so many people doing this? Not the majority, of course not. But certainly there's a big number that I've run into down here. And what's up with that? So what's your opinions? I'd like to know. Join the international conversation. Venera Alcala joining us from Vegas. Vegas is in the house. Hi, Venera. Nice to see that you joined us. I would love to hear your opinion as well. Lily DeWitt says all of the above. Oh, okay. All of what I said. Okay, I got you. Shub Singh, I'm always proud of you. Thank you, Shub. That's my man Shub hollering at me from India. So I appreciate that, Shub Singh. Thank you. And I want to know your opinion on the subject too. I know, Shub, I appreciate you. I know it's about 10:30 at night in India. So I appreciate you staying up late to holler at your main man. And Venera from Las Vegas is joining us early in the morning, 9:30 in Vegas. Venera, I appreciate you, baby. Holler at me and let me know what your views are on the topics that we are discussing. Tanya Lofton says, when you take God out of the equation, that's when the problem starts. Andre, mi amor, yo quiero tu opinión ahora mismo. That's when the problem starts. Tanya Lofton, good afternoon. Yes, thank you very much. I think you're right. But I want you to tell me, what do you mean by taking God out of the equation? In what sense are you talking about? It's very sunny here, guys, so I got to put my shades on just to make sure I can see everybody and everybody can see me clearly. But I want, I love what you guys are saying, but I want you to speak it more thoroughly, more complete thoughts so that I can expand and explain it to the listening audience from around the world. We have people checking in from the continent of Africa, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Liberia. Wow. And we have people checking in from Jamaica. We have Shub Singh checking in from India. We have people checking in from South America, people checking in from Colombia, people checking in from the Dominican Republic. We have people checking in from around the country, around the United States. Venera I'm messing up your last name. Venera Alcala, the beautiful Venera Alcala is checking in from Las Vegas, representing Vegas. So please, I want to know what you guys think about the topic that we're talking about, which is, why am I running into so many South American, North American men here looking for love? What's the dealio? Talk to me. And I'm going to see if I can get somebody here to talk to me. Can I get you to come over and talk for a minute? Can I get her to come and talk? Why not? These people told me that they were going to talk earlier, and now they're afraid of the camera. But that's okay. I know that the camera can make people shy. Your made man is not shy. So I will continue to talk about the issue. But I want to know your opinion. Good afternoon. Yes. Good afternoon too. You don't have to be interested in it. I am interested in talking about it, and I need your opinion. That's all. I'm talking to people behind me. Anyway, good people, what is the view that you guys have on the shooting case in Florida? What is the view of why so many of these stand your ground cases are working against people of color? What do I mean when I say that? Just as this young man was shot and killed, and the perpetrator of the shooting was able to yell, "I'm standing my ground, I feared for my life," and the local sheriff in Clearwater cleared him of any wrongdoing and said he refuses to arrest him. There was a Marine who had shot someone who had attacked him outside of a nightclub and was physically actually attacking him, when he in the scuffle ended up shooting this person and the person died. Well, that Marine, who happens to be black, was sentenced to 25 years in prison in the state of Florida. There was a woman whose husband, she had an order of protection against because he had assaulted her several times prior during their marriage. And during the course of their divorce, he assaulted her again, and she was able to get an order of protection to get him to stay away from the home, stay away from her, and stay away from her job. Well, one evening he decided to violate that order of protection, and he went to her home and he tried to attack her, and she didn't shoot him, but she fired a warning shot, so to speak, in the air. Well, she received a 22-year prison sentence for firing a warning shot against this person who had previously attacked her and who was engaged in attacking her at the time. She didn't want to shoot him, she didn't want to kill anybody, but she wanted to back him off. So she fired a warning shot in the air in the state of Florida, and she received a sentence of 22 years in prison. So again, she was saying, "I'm standing my ground." So does stand your ground work for people of color? That is the other issue. Does standing your ground work for people of color? Because we definitely have seen it work against. We've seen it work so far against this young man in Clearwater. His family has to go on the air with their attorney and plead for justice because the sheriff refuses to arrest this guy who killed him. We've seen it in the Trayvon Martin case, again in Florida, where George Zimmerman was the initial aggressor and was the finishing aggressor, and Trayvon Martin was simply defending himself. And when George Zimmerman was losing that defense, according to what George Zimmerman said, he killed Trayvon Martin. And yet a court ruled by way of a jury that Zimmerman was standing his ground, which no sane person would agree with, because Zimmerman, who had no authorization to do so, attacked this child who was simply walking to his dad's home from a local grocery store. And during the attack, he ends up killing this child. How was that standing your ground? I don't know. But yet, the serviceman who was out at the nightclub in Florida and who was in fact attacked, and the attacker admitted it, by the way. The attacker did not die. He didn't die. He was shot, did not die, testified at the trial on behalf of the serviceman that he did attack the serviceman, didn't know him, but they were wilding, and he chose to attack them. He threw a punch. The punch landed. The serviceman was knocked down, and the guy continued to advance to attack, and he was shot. He wasn't killed. Well, that serviceman still received 25 years. Okay? How that worked, I don't know, but I wish somebody would tell me, do you believe stand your ground works for people of color? We've seen it work well enough against people of color. Does it work for? Talk to me, good people. I want to know your opinions. Let's see who's checking in. We have Faye Allen joining us from upstate New York. Faye Allen, Raymond Holly from Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Tonya Gwendolyn Vickery. Hi, Tonya Gwendolyn Vickery from Alabama joining us. Faye Allen says, good afternoon, Mr. James. Good afternoon, Miss Allen. I appreciate you and your input. I appreciate you and your mom. Tell your mom that we definitely pray for her, and her goals and hopes are our goals and hopes. So praise be to God. Amen. Send my best to your mom, and also always the best to you and the children. But I want to know, what is your opinion? Ray Holly, tell me, talk to me. What's your view on that shooting in Florida? You, Ray, are from the state of Virginia. However, you've lived substantial years in Tampa, Florida, now living in Latin America. But tell me, what's your view of that shooting? What's the story? Do you think it was a right and just, righteous killing, or was it murder? Do you think that the stand your ground defense should prevail, or was the stand your ground defense simply used because that victim was a person of color and that the Clearwater Sheriff's Department doesn't give a damn? Tell me your opinion. I'd love to hear it. Daisy Estrella joining us. Daisy is from the Dominican Republic as well. Hi, Daisy, from Playa Chiquita in Sosua. La jefa de Playa Chiquita en Sosua, Daisy Estrella. ¿Cómo tú estás? I'm saying hello to Daisy, who's also from a place called Montejano in Sosua, Dominican Republic. She's the big boss over there at Playa Chiquita, so big shout out to Playa Chiquita. Big shout out to New Gardens Hotel and Restaurant, who we're broadcasting live from today in Sosua, Dominican Republic. Big shout out to this place. And I highly recommend it. The food is good. The ambiance is excellent. I'm sitting poolside, but I have to stay where the internet works, so I can't go out to the pool exactly, but I'm about 20 paces from the pool. So this is a wonderful place. You hear the cool, relaxed music in the background. Makes you want to break to my bachata. But I got to do the show, so I got to stop dancing. But I want to know your opinion of what I'm saying. Was that a righteous shooting? Talk to me. Let me hear from you. Tell me about why you think so many, primarily men but some women, come from other countries to Latin America, South America, looking for love. Talk to me, guys. I want to hear from you. This is your main made man, attorney at war, Stephen G. James, giving it to you raw of what you're asking for on your show, The Hour of Power. And remember, there is no me without you, so there's only we. And that's how this show works, because you ask for it throughout the week. You suggest topics, you suggest ideas of what we can talk about each and every Saturday from 12 o'clock on. Your Hour of Power broadcasts live from around the globe. From every single country that has internet, we are being heard right now. And this is the only show where your opinion counts, where your voice can be heard, where your main made man who drops science each and every day of the week. If you follow me on the internet, you know that, but also on Saturdays at 12 noon, this is your time to shine, where you can give us what your opinion is, what your voice is, and let us know what you think about topics that are of concern and interest to you. If you want to hear about Stormy Daniels or Donald Trump or the Mueller investigation, you got to go somewhere else. We don't talk about that stuff because you can hear that everywhere. The same 3 or 4 stories day in and day out for 6, 7, 8 months. No, we're not doing that to you. We want you to talk about the things that are important to you and to our community. Okay? So that's your hour of power. And that's why this show was born. And that's why this show lives. And it lives because of you. There is no me without you. Holla if you hear me. Let's see who else is checking in. Oh, shucks. We got Junior Tavares. ¿Cómo tú estás? Junior Tavares de Gurabo, Santiago. Dígame, mi amigo, cuñado mío. Ajá. Junior Tavares is joining us from Gurabo, Santiago, which is here in the Dominican Republic as well. I want to hear from you, bro. We have Zernan Sims Evans joined us. Thank you. Tanya Lofton says, it seems like the stand your ground law is set up to kill us, but in a legal way. That's how they justify killing us, with that law right there. I got to put an amen on that. I think you're right. I think it seems that way because that's how it's been working out. If anybody disagrees, let me hear your perspective, but it looks like stand your ground only works against people of color and for non-melanated folk. Okay, when white folks are killing people of color, they can say, oh, I feared for my life. I thought he was going to do this. I thought she was going to do that. Pull the trigger, as in the case of the killing this past week in Clearwater, Florida, where the guy had got shoved out of the face of the female by her boyfriend, and the boyfriend was retreating, and this guy from the ground pulls out a handgun, points it at him in retreat, and kills him. And then yells, oh, I feared for my life. I was standing my ground. And then some sheriff from that town agreed with the killer. So I want to know, Tanya Lofton and I would love to know, does stand your ground work for people of color? Holla back if you hear me. Faye Allen says, it clearly shows that the police department is not showing or effectively putting full effort into investigating these cases and following through with them. Right. I agree with you, Faye Allen, because first of all, that sheriff and his department came up with that conclusion very fast. I mean, like the next day. Y'all making me talk myself. Clatter. Me. Nope. Clatter. Yep. Much better. Y'all making me talk myself. My throat is dry, but that's because this is a very serious and emotional topic that affects all of us. Sure, the young man and his family are directly affected, but guess what? This could happen to you or someone you love tomorrow or today or right now. While we're here having this conversation, someone we love could be being confronted by some maniac with a gun in one of the 22 stand your ground states in America and killed for no reason, just like the man in Clearwater was. And the initial aggressor was the shooter. He attacked the woman and the child first. So much so that someone ran into the store to the store manager yelling, hey, that guy again, he's giving trouble. He's attacking a woman and a child in a car parked in a handicapped spot. He's going crazy on her. What's up? That the young man who heard it knew that that was his family being attacked. So he ran out of the store, saw this guy attacking his wife or girlfriend and his baby in the back seat, pushed the guy away like anybody would do, and said, hey, what's going on? And he's backing away to go back into the car, and this guy pulls a handgun out of his waist and kills him. Is that standing your ground? Standing your ground, primarily one of the key components of standing your ground is that you have to, A, be in an ongoing attack against you. And you have to reasonably perceive that attack to be imminent physical bodily harm or death. Were those elements met in this case? So I agree with Faye Allen. It clearly shows that the police department is not showing or effectively putting full effort into investigating these cases and following through with them. And how did the department, the sheriff's department, come up with the conclusion so quickly within a day that this was a stand your ground case? But yet they did, and decided, hey, no charges here. This was stand your ground. Even if they concluded that they should definitely, because of the facts and circumstances and the history of this guy, they should definitely have passed it on to the state's attorney's office, the Florida State's Attorney's Office, for further investigation. Don't draw any conclusion. But instead, they decided they're going to protect this guy, and they're not even going to arrest him, and they're going to close the case. What do you think about that? So I agree with Faye Allen, okay? And also, not only did they decide that, but they also didn't tell or ask the state's attorney's office to investigate independently. Well, guess what, folks? They can. The Florida State's Attorney's Office can investigate, can come to a different conclusion from the sheriff's department, and can prosecute. In fact, they're the only ones who can prosecute it. So right now, the pressure has to be on the Florida State's Attorney's Office to bring these charges against this killer. Forget the police. They don't want to do it. Their job is to investigate, make an arrest, turn their investigatory information over to the state's attorney for prosecution. But guess what? They can't determine that he won't be prosecuted. That's the state's attorney's job. And they can prosecute with or without the police investigation or conclusion. Okay? Well, let me hear from you guys. You guys want me to do all the talking, which is cool, and the gang. But I want to hear from you because these topics affect all of us, not just me. It affects thee. Okay? Me plus thee equals we. We are all affected. So holler at your main made man. Frank McKinney checking in with us. Thank you, Frank. Where are you checking in from, Frank? Rob's Flexing for Less joined us. From where, Rob's? Flexing for Less. Okay, that's an exercise workout place. But we want to hear more about your spot, Rob. So tell me more about you, where you're calling, where you're checking in from. But I want to hear from you guys also on all the topics that we've been talking about this morning. This is your host with the very, very most, your main made man, attorney at war, who came to give you more of what you've been asking for. But in the raw, Stephen G. James, attorney at law. Don't get me started. You'll know how I get down. Okay? Anywho's it, I am talking to you live from the Dominican Republic, from a place called New Gardens. What I can say, se llama New Garden Hotel, Cafeteria. And we're here just talking to a lot of people about that topic. And I want to hear from you guys because these shootings are serious and they're very, very pervasive. They've been going on since these stand your ground laws have been enacted, and they've been primarily, some people say, used as excuses to murder people of color with impunity or within the law. It's by simply saying, hey, but I feared for my life. I thought I was going to die. No, I know he was running that way. I know I attacked him first. I know Trayvon Martin was not bothering me, but I thought he was a thug about to do something, so I attacked him. And when he was getting the best of me, I killed him. But I was standing my ground. That's George Zimmerman's position. And guess what? Some silly jury of his so-called peers agreed in Florida and let him go out to commit more crimes. As we know, George Zimmerman went on to commit more crimes against women, crimes against property, crimes against other people. He's a menace in action. So let me hear from you. Are these laws being used to commit murder with impunity? Or do you think the stand your ground laws have a place in society and that they actually are working for everyone? And that when the cases that I mentioned of the people of color who have fired weapons, in many instances not even hitting anyone, warning shots, if you will, and end up doing serious time, 22 years in one case, for a woman who had previously been attacked on a number of occasions by her ex-husband in the midst of a divorce. He came to the home against an order of protection, against the law, against the court's order, and was about to attack her yet again. She had a legally registered lawful firearm, which she used not to kill him. No, she shot a warning shot. Boof, 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 in the air. Boof, boof, a warning shot. And guess what? They said you weren't standing your ground. Doesn't apply to you. You fired a weapon or discharged a weapon in public in the state of Florida. So you got 10 years for the possession of the weapon, which she had lawfully, but they're claiming unlawfully used. And then she got 10 years for firing that weapon in Florida. So that's 20 plus 2 years for menacing. She claimed that by pulling out the weapon, not only did she have possession of it unlawfully, but she menaced her husband with it by threatening to shoot him with it. And then by firing it in the air, she discharged the weapon. So in Florida, she got 10 plus 2. She got served with a 22-year sentence. Will somebody please help me understand that? Talk to me, y'all. This is your hour of power. This is your main man, attorney at war, attorney at law, the attorney who gives it to you raw, because that's what you asked me for. Stephen G. James. Ann Gonzalez Corbett checking in from Canada, up north, y'all. I mean, way up north. She's in Canada checking in with your Hour of Power show. Hi, Ann. She's a person who goes back 45 years, knowing your main made man. Good day and greetings from Toronto, Canada. See, Ann Gonzalez Corbett is one of those people, you never know where she's checking in from. Annie is a world traveler, like your main made man. She could be anywhere, any given Sunday. So she's checking in from Toronto, Canada. She's probably at home today. Hi, Ann. You deserve the break. You deserve the rest. How's everything up in Toronto? Cállate, coño. Ann is checking in. But Ann, I want to know your opinion about the subjects that we're talking about, because you always have very good input and very good advice and thoughts. So what are your thoughts on the stand your ground laws that we've been hearing about and the killings as a result of those laws, particularly, but not exclusively, but particularly in the state of Florida? Guys, this is one I hope you're hearing me fine. It seems like you are, but we get a lot of ambient sound because this is a live show coming to you from Sosua in the Dominican Republic, and life goes on all around us. We're at the New Garden Hotel, Cállate Coño, and you're hearing ambient sounds, but as long as you're able to hear your main made man, that's the most important voice to hear today. Levy Cabrera, Levy's checking in from the Dominican Republic, I believe. Esteban Rip Daniel checking in from Puerto Plata. Esteban Rip Daniel, rest in peace, Daniel. Yes, rest in peace. That was his brother I knew very well, Daniel. So Esteban, yo quiero a escuchar tu opinión de los topics que estoy hablando hoy, porque todo el mundo quiere escuchar tu opinión, ¿ok? So, háblanos claros, ¿ok? Háblame claro y yo quiero escuchar tu opinión de eso. Victor Calimar. Hi, Victor. VC, the main man, sharp dresser, good speaker, all around, cool guy. Victor, thank you for checking in. I want to know your opinion on the subjects. Ann Gonzalez Corbett says, I have a serious issue with stand your ground. There are too many gray areas in the law. Yes, stand your ground, like all laws, is subject to interpretation. First, by the police officer on the beat, who definitely and generally do not know the law. They just know to make arrests when they think somebody broke the law, but they can't tell you law, and they're not authorized to do that. But they make judgments based on what they believe the law to be. Then you have the prosecution. Do they decide to interpret the law in a way that agrees with the victim or the perpetrator? Again, gray area, subject to interpretation. Then there's the court, the judges. Do they accept the cases that are brought to them by the prosecutor for prosecution, and how do they perceive the law and prosecute those cases according to the law? So yes, stand your ground. Although all laws are subject to interpretation, stand your ground is one of those laws that unfortunately is subject to so much interpretation that we see in the Zimmerman case where the courts and the DA said, no. You killed Trayvon Martin. That was not a stand your ground issue, and you killed him in cold blood, and we're going to let a jury decide. And then the jury, against the court's judgment, said, yeah, you killed that young man in cold blood, under the law. We agree you were standing your ground. You're exonerated, not guilty. Go figure. Now, in this case, most recently in the state of Florida again, but in Clearwater, the sheriff at the police level said, oh, we don't believe there was any crime here. He feared for his life. This is what the sheriff got on the news live and said, that this shooter feared for his life, and as a result, we are not pressing any charges. We think he was right in what he did. He killed this guy in defense of his life because he felt he was going to be killed. Now, if you watch the video, can anybody come to that conclusion that this guy legitimately feared for his life? It's not enough to say, I feared for my life. You have to have a legitimate, reasonable person standard fear. In other words, would the average reasonable person have thought the same thought based on those circumstances? And most people are saying no. Many people are saying hell no. So this sheriff concluded that, yeah, he had a reasonable belief that his life was in danger when he pulled that trigger, even though the young man was had retreated a number of steps before he was shot, had no weapon, had not said he was going to kill the guy, had not made any threats. He simply pushed the guy away from the car where the guy was verbally attacking his family. He pushed him off, pushed him away. The guy fell down, and then as the young man who pushed him was retreating back to the car, this guy pulls a gun and shoots him dead. Does that sound like he was standing his ground to you? Again, Ann Gonzalez Corbett, you're right. It's subject to too many interpretations, and usually it's interpreted for non-white, not for non-blacks or non-people of color, in favor of whites who perpetrate crimes against people of color, and it's interpreted against people of color who are the ones who are proclaiming that they're standing their ground when they pull a gun, pull a trigger, or stop someone from attacking them. I have never seen a case where stand your ground has worked in favor of a person of color. Can anyone out there tell me of a case that they know of where the person of color was able to use stand your ground against a non-person of color and prevail? Talk to me. In other words, if Trayvon Martin were the prevailer and George Zimmerman were the victim, was the person shot, would the outcome have been the same? If Trayvon Martin was the one who shot George Zimmerman under those same facts and circumstances, simply switching roles. Young black 17-year-old shoots 35, 40-year-old wannabe white attacker. Talk to me. Tanya Lofton says, stand your ground seems like the new norm. Modern day purge, if you ask me. Oh, like the movie. So that, in other words, gives them not just 24 hours to purge, but whenever they want, as long as they're in a stand your ground state, it's almost, and they're not killing a white person, they can use stand your ground to justify any level or any type of killing. Is that what you're saying, Tanya? Don't let me put words in your mouth, but if that's what you mean, please confirm it and let me know further. Victor Collymore, he should be arrested. Should he be prosecuted, Victor? Do you think he should be prosecuted, or do you think he was standing his ground? Talk to me. Give me fuller thoughts, you guys. I appreciate the input, but I want full-throated thoughts. Ann Gonzalez Corbett just got back from Vancouver. Yes, happy to be back home. Yes, I know you're an international traveler and, of course, a national Canadian traveler as well. You're all over Canada on business, so I know it's good to be home. I'll know that feeling shortly as I head home sometime next week. I've been on the road for the last two and a half weeks or so, down in South America. Now I'm in Latin America and the Caribbean. It's fun to travel, meet new people, meet different folks, but there's no place like home. There's no place like home. If I say it one more time, I may wake up in my penthouse in New York City, so I better chill and just enjoy the rest of the stay here. I got a couple more days. Faye Allen, the stand your ground law seems to be a law that is implemented in favor killing of colors, whether by blacks or whites. So it's obvious that the Florida courts are racist and discriminates against people of color. That's a good point, because that's exactly what the results are supporting. That conclusion is supported by the results. And if anyone out there has something else to add that contradicts what Ms. Faye Allen said, we'd love to hear from you. Tanya Lofton, responding to my earlier comments, says, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, I got it. So you were saying basically that it doesn't seem to work for people of color. So I appreciate that, Tanya, for that confirmation. Okay, guys. So I would love to hear more from you guys about all the topics we've been discussing today. I definitely don't always want to be the only person talking. I definitely want to hear your input, your ideas and thoughts, because this show only works with you. If I wanted to just talk amongst and by myself, me, myself, and I could have stayed home for that. But I want to bring you to exotic lands, to exotic places, to see exotic faces, to show you that this show is one that's growing and growing, and we're taking it on the road. We're not afraid to go different places and bring that whole entire concept to your telephone or to your computer. Okay? Again, this is your host with the most, attorney at law, Stephen G. James, bringing it to you raw, live and direct from Latin America, La República Dominicana, in the city called Sosua, in a place called the New Gardens Hotel. And we have one of the employees now, who's a wonderful camarera in New Gardens. ¿Cómo te llama? Karina, un placer. Nosotros somos aquí en, ¿cómo se llama este lugar? New Gardens Hotel. Muchos extranjeros visitan aquí, ¿verdad?
Siempre.
Dile cosas de tu hotel para que la gente venga aquí a veces. Dile. Okay, ella va a regresar and explica algunas cosas de aquí. She's going to come back and talk to us more about this place, but tiene vergüenza. They're very shy, tímida, shy to talk on camera because they know that this is your Maine-made man coming to you from the Dominican Republic, but going to you around the world. Everybody's checking in from multiple countries and various cities from around the United States of America. So we have our audience, and we're growing, guys, every week. More and more and more people are asking for us to give it to you raw, and that's what we do. This is the place where your opinion, your thoughts, and ideas are number one. We discuss the things that are important to you. We discuss the things that count in your life and things that affect you every day. You're not going to get that same old story that you get on ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC. No. If you want that, just turn on your TV and you can hear the same 2 or 3 stories all day long from each and every host about the same old people, and nothing changed. Everybody's talking about Donald Trump. How many women did he kiss? How many women did he pay off? Look, who's doing anything about it? Is he getting impeached? Are they throwing him out? If they're not doing that, then we're tired of hearing about it. We're tired of hearing about his lawyer has tapes. His lawyer has taped him, and he lied about it, or she lied about it, or they lied about it, or they arrested the girl for dancing nude somewhere. Does that affect us? Hell to the no. What affects us? This BS about stand your ground. These young people of color being shot down by these murderous thugs who then cry, I'm standing my ground, I feared for my life, whether they be in blue uniforms working for the government or hillbillies driving a pickup truck. They're killing us off. That's important to our community, and we want to know what's being done about that. We already know, scared of Donald Trump, they're not going to do nothing to him. They're going to talk about his women, his payoffs, his side chick, his main chick. I'm tired of that, especially if nothing's being done about it. So I'm tired of CNN telling us ad infinitum every single day who he paid, how he paid her, what he lied about. We know he's a liar. We know he's a philanderer. We know these women are checking in for his paper. So tell me something that affects me and tell me something that affects you. Well, that's why the Hour of Power was born. It was born and raised because we love and care about you and things that affect our folks, our community, our children. And our children being picked off one by one, day in and day out around the United States by hillbillies and pickup trucks, people in blue uniforms, beating them to death, shooting them to death, stabbing them to death, tasing them to death. These are the things we talk about on the Hour of Power, because these are the things that keep us up at night every time one of our children steps out the door. We don't know when or if they're ever going to come back and in what condition. Whether they get mentally affected because they saw somebody get beat down like a dog, or whether they themselves get beat down like a dog, or whether they themselves get killed. You don't know what's going to happen when you say goodbye to your young black child, your young Latino child, or your young Latino daughter, or you yourself, or your mama. Because these days, they'll kill your 90-year-old mama. They'll beat her to death and get away with it because the courts will find some way to justify it. So these are the things we have to discuss and find solutions to. I don't want to hear any more about Donald Trump sleeping with somebody or kissing somebody or whatever the hell he likes to do, because that doesn't help us, and we already know what and who he is. Now, if you're going to talk about doing something about him and actually start doing something, now you got my attention. But we've been hearing about him since before the election. We're still hearing the same old gobbledygook, and nobody's doing anything about it. So come on with that. All right? Dispense with that BS. Talk to me about stuff that keeps us up at night, worrying about us and ours. Holla if you hear me. This is your Hour of Power with your host with the most, attorney at war, Stephen G. Jigger James. And Gonzalez Corbett writes, this is a bigger discussion. Does the average person need to possess a gun? Would we be in this situation if the general public did not carry? Yes, we would, because they would kill us with other things, and the courts would set them free and find a way to exonerate them anyway. The issue is not guns, and although guns are being used, that's simply the means of carrying out the underlying plot and plan of annihilation. Someone called it the purge. That's the underlying means. That's the underlying means of extermination, the gun. But it could be anything. It could be the noose. It can be the taser. It can be the baseball bat. I mean, they use all kinds of means. So yeah, the issue is not bigger than what we're talking about, and the issue is not guns. The issue is punishment and prevention. That's the issue. Don't get it twisted. Joel Carter joined us. I appreciate you, Joel, but I want to hear from you too. Thank you for joining us. And Gonzalez Corbett says, get the Second Amendment, but the Constitution was written in a different era. We just went through a mass shooting in Toronto this past week, and there is now serious discussion of banning handguns here. And if they want to kill you, they're going to do it with or without a gun. I assure you. Guns, although gun control is important, but guns is simply one of the many means by which they are executing our children, our women, and us. It is not the issue alone. It is prevention and punishment for those who perpetrate these crimes against us. That's the problem. When these cops are beating women to death with their batons in public, and public people stand around saying, stop resisting, just let him arrest you, let him beat you down and arrest you, stop resisting, while the woman is twitching from pain from being beaten in the head with the baton, and the cop continuously beats her like a maniac, or with his fists, with his gloved fists, like a maniac. He's beating this woman, and he's yelling, stop resisting, as if she is, and not simply defending her natural self against an onslaught by a grown-ass man wearing 400 pounds of armor and a bulletproof vest and other things that protect him from her. You tell me that the issue is guns? It's not the issue. The issue is lack of punishment, lack of accountability, lack of doing something to these savages that savage our community. That's the issue. Lack of respect for people of color, lack of a willingness to do anything about these animals that are attacking us, whether they use a gun, a baton, their fist, a noose, whatever, a car, okay? That's the issue. Accountability, and the courts letting these savages go back out in the street, which give free reign and a message to those who have yet to savage our community that it's okay to do it. We got your back. You'll be standing your ground. We'll find a way to exonerate you. That's the problem, not a gun. Sorry, Ann, but I just think it's not a gun. I will definitely tell you people I want to hear, though I'm glad that Ann and others are participating in your Hour of Power. This is the place to be heard. This is the place where you get things that matter to you, that affect our community, that affect you, that keep you up at night when your husband, wife, son, or daughter, grandma, 90-year-old grandma can go out there to the local store and not ever come back because she stepped on some cop's shoe, or he thought something shined that he thought was a weapon, and he blasts her back to heaven where she came from. And then there's a court or judge somewhere waiting to say it's justified. Yeah, I thought that cell phone was a gun. I think Amadou Diallo shot 26 times by 5 cops in the Bronx in New York back in the 90s. You know, think about so many other people who were shot and killed because someone saw something shiny in their hands, or Castillo in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The cop asks him for his ID. The man reaches for his wallet and gets blasted while his wife and young child, 4-year-old daughter, is in the car with him. And again, a court says, "Man, that's a good one. That's a justified, righteous killing." So, and others, yes, a gun is a means, but it's not the problem. The problem is letting these murderous, savage, animal people, and I use that term people very loosely, do what they do, and then a court waiting to justify it in whatever way they can and letting these people go. That's the problem. I'll tell you right now, you want to know how to stop police brutality? You want to know how to stop all these Daniel Brown killings? Start putting these suckers in jail. Start letting them do 10, 20, 30, 40 years running from Bubba in prison, in that little 8x8 prison cell. The first 2 or 3 that go, the next 1,000 will think twice before they know that that's where they're going to end up too. These are not tough guys doing this. These are cowards who get a stamp of approval by the government that refuses to prosecute them, that says it's okay, that's going to let them go. That's why they do it. If they start seeing that their brethren before them are starting to go to prison, starting to get sued personally, losing their homes, losing their pensions, losing their bank accounts personally. I'm not talking about just suing the city that they come from, or suing the police department, or suing the town. No, because that doesn't stop that individual, for example, agent of the police, that cop. No, but if you sue his behind, you take his money away, you take his pension away, you ruin his family's future, you put his ass in jail. You don't think the next one's going to think twice? Think South Carolina, when that cop shot that man 8 times in the back and then went about the business of planning the evidence, planning the gun, and planning a story that he was attacked. The guy tried to grab his taser. And all, he had a whole story ready before he realized everything was caught on tape. Now his ass is doing 25 years in a federal penitentiary. He gets to run from Bubba in that 8x8 cell. But he's only one. You start putting enough of them in there for all these various killings, and I bet you'll stop. You don't got to take guns away. You got to get into that head. They'll know when and where and how and why, and when, where, how, why not to use that gun, that baton, that fist, if you start making their asses pay the price. Cállate, estoy hablando por internet. Okay? Bye-bye. Pero, tú me entiendes? They will stop and think 2 and 3 times before they pull that trigger, before they punch that 90-year-old great-grandmother, before they take out their bat and savage that female, before 6 of them start kicking and beating and assaulting that young man. Okay? Before they chain up that woman in that cell and sexually molest her. You start making these guys pay the price for their actions. That's how you stop it. Changing gun laws won't mean a damn thing. If these people are hell-bent on killing us, they'll just use a different means. Talk to me. If you hear me, holler. Faye Allen is crying. Oh, pobrecita. No llorar, no llorar. Pero yo solamente hablando hechos. ¿Tú me entiendes? Solamente yo hablo de mi corazón. Hechos solamente tú vas a escuchar de mi boca. So don't cry, Faye. I'm only going to talk facts, baby. There's no reason. We got to take action. And I'm talking about yesterday. I'm not talking about tomorrow, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. You know that, Faye. You know, that's why they call it tomorrow. You know, yesterday is the past. Tomorrow is the promise. Today is the gift. That's why they call it the present. You heard that here first from your main made man, attorney at war, Stephanie James. This is your hour of power. Folks, how much more time do we have left? Oh, we're almost out of time. Woo! We didn't rock this boat for 58 minutes now. We're going to start wrapping it up unless you good people have more input to say and to do. I'm going to thank you all for joining in, for listening in. Once again, your main made man, coming to you live and direct from the Dominican Republic, from a town called Sosua in the Dominican Republic, and direct from the New Garden Hotel, restaurant. And this is a place where I've seen and continue to see many foreign men from America, Europe, all kinds of countries in Europe, all kinds of states, United States, coming to South America. I was in Colombia last week, coming to the Dominican Republic. I've been here all week, and all I'm doing is falling over foreign men. So I decided to come and ask, what's up? What's the dealio? So, those have been our topics for the last 2 weeks, 2 Saturdays. I want to thank you guys for your input. And I definitely want to say, without you, there is no me, there's only we. And we make this show what it is. I respect and appreciate all of you. You do not have to agree with me. I do not have to agree with you. But we definitely want to put our opinions, thoughts, and ideas out there so that we can talk and discuss it and know where we stand, because nobody is talking to us about us. We used to have shows. I grew up in New York City, and we had shows Like It Is, The McCreary Report, Black News, WWRL, WBLS, WLIB, shows that are oriented towards our thoughts and ideas in our communities. People of color, not just Black folks, Latinos, Asians, Black Americans, Caribbean, everything. People of color from the diaspora. Well, guess what? All of those shows have either been shut down completely or bought out by things like Viacom, which bought BET. That was Sumner Redstone, country boy from the South. He owns a company called Viacom. Well, he went up to Robert Johnson, who was the founder and owner and pioneering idea behind BET, Black Entertainment Television. And that was becoming a powerful source, a big voice going nationally and internationally. When they saw that power, what did they do? Bought him out, offered him a lot of money, him personally, made him $1 billion offer. He took it and they repackaged the programming, got rid of the information, got rid of the Black news perspective, the Latin perspective, the Asian perspective, okay? And recycled it back to just entertainment. Booty shaking, music, which is fun, 5 minutes of that and 55 minutes of information. But instead they give you 59 minutes of the bullshit and a whole minute of commercials, but no info. And that's what they do all the time. So this show, The Hour of Power, with your host with the most, your made man, attorney at law, attorney at war, Stephen G. James, the professional, was born because we need a voice. We need our perspective, things that matter to us, things that we care about, things that are happening to us, against us, to be heard. So that's why this show was born, and that's the only reason why this show comes to you live. I could be doing a lot of other things with my Saturday. You could be doing a lot of other things with your Saturday, but we meet here every Saturday at noon, 12 noon, no matter where your host with the most is in the world, and I think I've shown you that. We meet every Saturday to drop that science and give it to you raw, okay? Because nobody's talking about our concerns. Our voices are silenced for the most part, and that's why we have this forum. So I always encourage you to speak. We do not have to agree with one another. You do not have to agree with me, but I will respect and appreciate your input. Ann Gonzalez Corbett agreed. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ann. And the problem is endemic racism that is protected under the current laws, i.e. stand your ground, etc. Change has to be initiated on many fronts in order to make a dent. Gun laws are just one very small component of this issue. I agree with that 1,001%. Now you're talking my language, and gun laws is a component, but a small one. Punishment, accountability, that's the main thing, because they're going to think 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times before they pull that trigger. Well, gun laws don't have jack to do with pulling that trigger if you don't think you're going to have consequences behind it. That's the problem. So I agree with you 100%. Got to have accountability laws and make these guys pay, make them suffer so that they can suffer so that the others can see and stop it. That's the only way to stop this, short of people starting to fight back. Because it's going to stop one way or the other. Either the courts and the laws and the government's going to stop it through the legal system. And if they don't, if they continue to let people get away, folks are going to start rebelling. It's just human nature. You can take but so much before you start resisting it in your own way. And we're trying to keep that from happening, because then it's going to be complete chaos and anarchy, and everybody's going to be going down. So before it gets to that point, people ought to start making sure these courts and judges are doing the right thing. And if not, if they're elected officials like Supreme Court judges, Legislators who pass these stand your ground rules, vote their asses out. Okay? Get people in who think like you, who are going to protect your community, who are going to fight for your issues. That's the way to do this. Now, this is Attorney at Law Stephen G. James. If you need to reach me Monday through Friday, you can call the law office of Stephen G. James and Associates, based in New York City at area code 646-905-9000. That's area code 646-905-9000. This is your host with the most, Attorney at War, Attorney at Law, the main made man, the professional, Attorney Stephen G. James. And another one in the bag for your show, The Hour of Power. Again, 646-905-9000. 646-905-9000 is the law firm of Stephen G. James. We are here to take your questions. And by the way, the Hour of Power is always a forum through which you can have legal questions answered. You can ask me questions. I've been practicing law for over 30 years. I am in this game 30 plus years deep, and I'm willing to answer many, if not all, of your questions on the law. That's the standing offer at all times, no matter what the topic is. If you have a legal issue confronting you at any given time, come to your main man. We'll be happy to address it in a very peripheral sense right here on the show. Okay? So may God continue to bless you and keep you. As we say in Espanol, Dios te bendiga. God bless you all and protect you all. We have Mary Beth Fati joining in. Hi, Mary Beth. Join us at the end of the show, but you can always see this in replay. This show is always rebroadcast throughout the week. Roy Glover, you know that, and we always appreciate everyone's input, everyone's opinions. This is your show. This is not my show. I'm a lawyer. You know, I own an entertainment company as well as a legal firm that is based in various states around the country. I have JamFam Entertainment Group. I do real estate. So this is not a show, The Hour of Power, that is for Attorney Stephen G. James necessarily, but I saw a need, and I saw where our voices were not being heard, in fact, being silenced around the world, and certainly around the United States. So we decided to start a show that is broadcast internationally in every country on the planet that has internet. You can hear us. And today, we're coming to you live and direct, with more from the Dominican Republic, from Sosua. You can hear the noise in the background because we're coming to you very, very raw and very, very live. Okay? So I want to thank everyone who joined in. I want to particularly thank the people who chimed in with their opinions, who wrote in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May God continue to bless you and keep you. And as I always say, peace, be still, be well, and we'll be here same time, not the same place. We'll be broadcasting live again next week from New York City, probably from the penthouse, but we'll definitely be coming to you always raw to the core and giving it to you the way you want and the way you ask it for. Okay? Stephen G. James signing off. Be well, be blessed. Talk to you soon. Amen.